Welcome to Divisive Issues, a comic book podcast where we talk about comic books. I'm Ryan.
I'm Sly.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Darryl.
And guys, we made it. But for real this time. It's our year anniversary.
Yeah. Oh, I remember being there a year ago when I was in the alternate timeline.
Yeah.
Phil upon the altar. Only for me and Sly though. So congratulations, Sly. We made it for a year.
Barely.
So to honor this anniversary, this year we did Civil War. So for anniversary, doing Civil War again. Civil War 2 this time.
Civil War also.
Yeah.
TOO.
I heard it has Tony Stark in it.
Yeah.
It does. It also has Captain Marvel, who no one fucking knows.
Carol Danvers.
Yeah.
I heard there was something about her son having sex with her or something.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something that we'll do a different time.
As if this didn't make me hate comics enough.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just gonna say one thing real quick. If you're listening, turn this off in 5 seconds. Go watch Minority Report.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
and then just don't come back. Like that's it. You gotta. It's much better.
Phil reverse markets.
To allude to what Phil's talking about, the plot of the story is basically an Inhuman, which is basically Marvel's replacement for mutants because they don't have the rights to mutants because Fox has the right to mutants. A new Inhuman has been found that can see the future, and Tony Stark is like, we shouldn't use this is bad, and Captain Marvel is like, you should use this is good, and then have
by use it he means like since he can see the future, they're like, let's go arrest people before they commit the crimes, or like
exactly.
Let's go kill people before they Hulk out and destroy the world or whatever.
Yeah.
Literally.
And like it's just fucking Minority Report. God damn.
So this is the latest Marvel event. It just came out in hardcover. Whatever. It's by Brian Michael Bendis, and all but the Zero issue is drawn by David Marquez. Mm-hmm. Before I get to the Bendis part, I do have to say I think David Marquez does a really good event book.
He's a great artist.
I agree. I liked reading this just because of him. Mainly.
Yeah, I'm
Art's
pretty
very good.
sure if there was a different artist, like I would have hated this a lot more.
Yeah.
But I was like just bored instead of offended.
Yeah. The art is very good.
I feel like I was like the way you feel when you're watching a really mediocre Michael Bay movie or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
It's really pretty, but like you just sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. But I thought David Marquez, like, I want him to do every Marvel event. Like, I thought it was like grandiose and big, and like his characters had emotion, even when like the writing didn't justify it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to give props because I think the art's fantastic.
Do you want to describe Michael Bendis, or should I describe him?
Okay, so Darryl asked the question while he was reading this: is Bendis good? And that's a tough question.
Yeah, the answer is it's complicated. So, if you like Marvel Netflix, as hard as to believe, Marvel Netflix is largely thanks to Bendis.
Yeah.
Like the version of Daredevil on the Netflix series is very close to the tone of his book series, and his series was one that really made Daredevil dark again after years.
Oh, I read that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He created Jessica Jones, so literally Jessica Jones is his.
And Jessica Jones hasn't really ever been written by anybody other than Bendis.
It's only Bendis, and Luke Cage was always a C-lister until Bendis wrote him and made him a more prominent character in books like Jessica Jones. So, so far, almost every character in Netflix has been super helped by Bendis.
Yeah.
And that tone, in those universes, Phil always wonders, like, how can this be the same tone? It's because when Bendis writes street-level characters, he writes in a very gritty tone. Then when he writes events like this, they're shit, and they have a tone like this.
Yeah, basically, Bendis was, like, I think one of the best writers at Marvel at the time, in, like, the early 2000s-ish, and then because he was so good, Marvel made him, like, one of their architects, and I don't think he's good at the big picture kind of stuff at all.
Yeah.
So, like, his Ultimate Spider-Man is most people's, not most people's, but a lot of people's, like, favorite version of the character, and, like, is a definitive book for so many people. But his Guardians of the Galaxy is universally, like, hated.
It's hated so much that the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy's movies told everyone in the cast, don't read the fucking modern Bendis comics. They're terrible.
Yeah, so, like, he's the kind of person that I always have a soft spot for him because I really really love a lot of his stuff. But then I read some stuff that I'm like, this is just, it's just so boring.
Yep.
It's
And he
so
also tends to
boring.
just throw out continuity and do
Oh, yeah.
whatever he wants, which makes him great for when he's like reinventing something. So like he's creating Jessica Jones or like revamping Daredevil after like Kevin Smith did what Kevin Smith did.
After Kevin Smith had Daredevil try to murder a baby.
Yeah. So like having him or
try
like
to murder a
yeah.
baby. Like you can fail to kill a baby. Like
did.
how did he fail?
He threw a baby off a building.
Yeah, Black Widow saved the baby for him.
And like Ultimate Spider-Man was the first book in a whole new universe. He does a really good job, but when he builds off of people's characters, a lot of times he's like, "No, fuck you. I prefer this version that I just made up."
This is why I don't like modern Marvel at all, really, because they all follow Bendis' idea of doing stories, and this is what I hate. In the 80s and 70s and all those eras, the idea was to have the story fit the characters, but now it's to have the characters fit the story. So Bendis will shoehorn characters into his story and make them fit these roles. And it just throws out continuity, it throws out what the character would do in the situation, and it makes me not care as much because they don't care as much what these characters would do.
If this comic was filled with any other random slew of characters, it would be the same exact story.
Yes, exactly.
And in fact, this reminded me a bit. What was the other event we did? It was
Flashpoint?
Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Not exactly the same, but to the point where I'm just seeing all these fucking characters do all this dumb shit. It was so boring to get through.
I feel like that's a possible problem of doing big events like this and having so many characters is that every character other than like the main couple are reduced to just like sideline characters that watch and cheer on or get involved in
That's
fights.
pretty much even my favorite events. That is so the case. Like that's to me the best way to do an event is like pick a cast and then leave everybody else kind of out of it.
Yeah,
Like-
have tie-ins to show whatever else is.
Yeah, like if you don't have a reason for the Flash to be in this event, and the writer of Flash wants to say how he fits in, leave it in Flash. Don't put it in the main book because all it does is make you be like, well, why is this person here? Who's this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like events can be useful. Like my first event was reading like a Green Lantern centric event, and it made me want to care. It made me want to read more of the main characters in the event. But in this book, I feel like if you were reading it, did you guys want to see more of anybody in this book?
Did you guys want to see more Miles Morales, Spider-Man, more Champions, more fucking Captain Marvel, more Ultimates?
I would say actually a little bit, yeah.
So, Darryl is
Okay.
the positive one.
I'm actually pretty positive. I think this was a neat story.
Well, actually, one of the things that I've seen in defensive events, to go off of what Darryl says, is a lot of times new fans really like them.
Yeah.
And then the more you are established in the universe, the more you tend to hate them. So, like, I used to love events when I first started reading comics because I'm like, oh, I get to see, like, these new characters and, like, this seems so big and epic that, like, this is what a shared universe is all about. So I guess in that case, it did its
I can
job.
really agree with that because I don't think I've read any comics from any of these characters that are in this. Other than Captain America shows up for a little bit. I've read Captain America.
Captain America's a secret Nazi at this point anyway.
Wait, I have a question. In Marvel, did everyone like? Is there in canon that they all became young and hot, or is that like?
Well, okay, so
I don't understand that. I'm like, no, seriously.
I love when Sly just goes, okay.
not to get into another tangent, but this is what Marvel is doing now. Basically, Ryan loves it. I fucking think it's dumb.
I don't love it.
You always say like it's fine. I think
You
it's
guys always
dumb.
have this fucking argument. I don't love it. You love it. It's your favorite
It's
thing.
just like anytime Phil says spoilers, Sly yells at him.
So, there's basically Marvel, like they have all these experiments with different characters. Like they have a female Thor now.
Yeah, I was so confused.
They have a new Black Spider-Man. They have a new young Cyclops,
New Hawkeye.
a new Hawkeye, new female Hawkeye. They have all these characters, and
New
basically
Iron Man.
Jean Grey looked like she was a teenager, and I'm like, haven't you been around?
new
for
teen.
six-
All the X-Men, they came from the past into the future, and they're all teen versions themselves, and they're living in conjunction with the modern versions. Brian said this is a nice idea. I said it was dumb from the beginning, but Brian always fucking loves ideas. It's dumb to have two characters with the same identity. It makes the identity less important. It's fucking confusing for the readers, and it's just stupid. It's just dumb.
Okay. It is dumb. You're right. Fuck you. I'm not going off on this tangent.
All right. Let's start the
But
comic.
as far as people being young and hot, Marvel switches between having like a sliding time scale where everything's 5 years ago. Like, Iron Man's been Iron Man for 6 years, forever. Or the more I think the better version is like 4 years of real time is 1 year in comic universe. So like if Iron Man's been around for 40 years, he's really only been around for 10 years. But they do lots of dumb stuff like the X-Men are teenagers now.
Because I couldn't believe when like they're just calling all these characters up like, look, hey, little Jean Grey and this person's. I'm like, they're all like 18 to 20-year-olds, all of them,
Literally, yeah.
And
literally.
the thing with Bendis that I think we saw a lot of in Cry for Justice too is instead of either not using the confusing things or kind of just hand-waving it, he feels the need to explain it.
Yeah.
And that just makes it worse.
Or at least call attention to it. Like, Beast is an Inhumans, a member of the Inhumans now. And he has to say, like, oh, Beast is a member of Inhumans. Isn't that wacky, guys? Like, literally, they say that.
Tony Stark thinks to himself, wow, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
That Beast is a member of the Inhumans?
That's dumb.
Let's start this comic.
Yeah, let's start this fucking
It'll be quick. Not much happens.
Yeah. So, it starts with She-Hulk defending a supervillain who was arrested for having a conversation about supervillainy with an undercover cop. And basically the whole exposition is, can you get arrested for thinking something?
Yeah, it's foreshadowing for like the whole like thought crime thing.
And here's one funny thing about it. She-Hulk gets mad because he gets arrested for this, and later she gets mad saying you can't bust somebody for something they didn't do yet. Later on, she supports Captain Marvel that you can't do that. What
it makes no sense why she's on team. Yes, do this thing, but she's framing it, and of all people, it's the fucking Jester. So,
and also, just we should explain who She-Hulk is. She-Hulk is Hulk's cousin, who is unlike Hulk, is actually smart while being Hulk, and she's a lawyer.
Wait, is okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, how does that work? Like, how is she just turn into Hulk all the time?
Okay, so what happened with She-Hulk was, man, we're not gonna get this much history.
Okay,
I just want to say, basically, she originally was like regular Hulk, but then no one liked it. It was no one read the book. Then one writer decided to just make her a more fun character who just likes being green, basically. And people loved it. Like she's more like a fun, goofy character, and she became popular that way. And it's one of those things where if you're a new reader, like, it's weird, but if you read the comics, you just enjoy the personality enough that you don't mind as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's defending this guy. He gets found guilty anyway, and then there's like some government stuff where just to establish that War Machine is here from the movies.
Yeah.
He's like Iron Man's sidekick.
I love that this establishes War Machine talking to the president. It's like setting him up to be in a position of power later. Like the president saying, like, do you want my job? And then War Machine will die. And like in this issue, I think he died. No, the next one. He dies.
Next issue off panel, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, off panel.
So Obama, because it's obviously Obama, because he wants fucking secrecy. He's not in the fucking Mar-a-Lago estate. But
I like to imagine it's Trump. Like,
no,
it will be huge. We're gonna see the future. It'll be great. It'll be huge.
He's definitely. I thought he was Obama.
And
look
also,
look at those ears.
War Machine is qualified to be Secretary of Defense. There's no way it's Trump. So he. Oops, guys.
We have to explain. His face is in shadow the entire time. The president's face, just so everyone knows.
So basically, like, he's like, you should be Secretary of Defense, and then maybe you'll be the president, because a superhero is gonna be president eventually. So I'd rather it be someone who, like, we trust and, like, knows how government works and is qualified for. God, I'm gonna die. But and then two teenagers have they get hit by the Terrigen Mist, which is a big cloud that turns you into an
This
Inhuman.
is so also jarring for someone who doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Apparently mists just fly around the planet and turn people into cocoons if they have this ancient DNA or something.
Oh, just to get more backstory. The Inhumans, basically Marvel. We mentioned a few times that Marvel does not have the film rights to X-Men, but because they don't have the film rights to X-Men, that's why you can't have Spider-Man and Wolverine team up in the movies at all now. But because of this, Marvel they want to make the X-Men less prominent, because any characters they create for X-Men, they don't have the rights to. Like, if they create a new mutant and become super popular, they wouldn't have the rights to that character. So instead, they use another property they have called the Inhumans, which suck.
They're really fucking boring.
Yeah, and basically, they try to make it fit in the same mold as X-Men, but it doesn't fucking work at all. Like, one example is the fact that instead of getting your powers at puberty, you fucking get it through a mist, and you end up in the fucking cocoon, and now you have your powers. And
I also love how you've explained to me now how many times in Marvel there's mutants, there's mutates, there's Inhumans. It's like, fuck. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, so some guy named Ulysses is turned into, like, he wakes up with some inhuman powers and he sees a vision of New York City being destroyed.
Yep.
And at the same time, She-Hulk finds out that the Jester got killed in prison, even though he was found guilty, because he was found guilty. And then somehow she immediately becomes Team Thought Police. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
someone. This is a good foreshadowing where some, I don't know, female Nick Fury, I think, or something.
Yeah, Maria Hill.
She's
played by
like-
Colby Smulders in the movies.
Oh, that's okay. She's like, they always return to crime. It's good that he died, or something. Like,
Yeah.
like it's more foreshadowing that idea that like you it's like your destiny or set path, like that you're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But also, there's the last thing in the comic is there's another scene where Captain Marvel's talking to some green-haired John Travolta guy.
Yeah,
And
that's another Hulk character.
Okay, it establishes her that she's proactive justice, just like Hal was in Cry for Justice.
Yeah, so if you don't know Captain Marvel, I just wanted to establish who Captain Marvel is. She's like a space cop, basically.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it.
Captain Marvel literally was created like as a ripoff of Green Lantern, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, is that her parallel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because now in comics, like, everyone has a parallel.
Yeah, because Marvel and DC rip off each other a lot.
They're like, rather than compete, let's just have exactly the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Guardian will be our Captain America.
All right, what's the next issue?
Okay, so then issue 1, so that was issue 0. Oh, everyone's intrigued. So issue 1 is the Inhumans.
I was intrigued, actually.
Okay. So, the Inhumans pick up Ulysses, and basically they're like, oh, you're an Inhuman, come join us. And then we cut to weeks later, and we're in Manhattan, and there's some, like, Galactus-looking thing, like, attacking New York City, and a billion characters just show up, and Doctor Strange's magic sits away, and it's fine.
His scenes are pretty cool, where they have that like text of where he gets the spell incantation from, and there's like a group of sorcerers with him. All
Yeah, but like it's
I like that
so like it's I get it, but like it's really there has to be 30 characters in this scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, there's 6 sorcerers here. Poof. And it's like, but that, I don't know. It's weird.
Yep, Dr. Voodoo, Wiccan,
Scarlet Witch is
Seaman.
there.
See, man.
Oh, Shaman, not Seaman.
If I were to bitch about everything that pisses me off about this book, I'll bitch about how the way Bendis writes in the dialogue. Like, there's a character, Damien.
No, just leave
Damien
that.
Hellstrom, who's the son of Satan, who's like this very serious, dramatic character.
He's the son of Satan.
But Bendis writes him like he's fucking the I don't know, like the Kill the Fire Ring from Captain Planet. Where he's like, yo guys, this is a bummer. Let's chill out, bro. What the fuck?
Everyone seemed that. Well, it kind of fits in with that. Like they're all 18, but like they all have this same snarky teenage attitude.
Yes, snark is the best way I'd put it.
Single character.
Yeah, that's how Bendis writes dialogue.
Oh my fucking god.
Tony Stark, Iron Man, has a big party for the Inhumans, and he's like, they predicted this Galactus thing was going to come, so we were prepared for it. So let's have a big party. And this is what I mean about Bendis ignoring continuity, but then explaining it, is he makes a joke that it's like, aren't the Inhumans genociding the X-Men? And they're like, yeah, but it's a party. Like, no, that's not how it fucking works. And then, like one of the characters makes a joke about, like, the time, and she's an X-Men character, makes a joke about the time Scarlet Witch killed all but 200 X-Men.
Yeah.
Like,
ha ha ha. Good jokes on this party.
yeah,
guys.
good joke. Ha ha ha. Like, it's, you know, this, and it happened like 2 years ago. Like, it's not.
Is this better or worse than inviting Hulk to a dinner party?
It's the same. It's the same. So
No, this is like a social faux pas. Like you shouldn't be bringing this stuff up. Whereas Hulk's a social like wrecker.
So they're all like, wait, we should find out how the Inhumans knew about this. And that's when we find the rest of the Marvel Universe finds out that Ulysses can predict the future. So he sees these visions, and the Inhumans keep like using them to prevent crime.
I love that they bring in Little Jean Grey to read his mind, and he just has like this plot device around his mind where she's like, "Oh, his mind cannot be read."
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just like before you guys ask.
Yeah. And so Tony brings up the morality debate, like, can we, the same thing we were talking about in issue 0, of can you arrest someone before they've committed a crime?
Just go, guys. Please go watch Minority Report. Do
Yeah.
not read this comic.
And also, he was not going to trust his powers until he knows how they work. Like basically saying, does his perception affect them? Does his personality affect them, etc. Et
Which I think are good questions.
They are, and like, is this the future or a possible future? Because
that's one of his biggest thing that he
Yeah.
talks about.
his vision was that they destroyed New York City, but it didn't get destroyed because we stopped it. So it obviously wasn't the future, right?
Yeah. And I think in the Marvel Universe, where everyone's always time traveling and stuff, I think this is a great premise. I think Minority Report in the Marvel Universe is interesting.
I was very interested at this point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I actually, I'll get to my thoughts at the end, but I'm not as super hating it as I am acting like, but I do have serious fucking problems with it. So, War Machine and Captain Marvel are like, no, if we can save even one life, like, through this, we should do it. And then Ulysses has a big vision, and he's like, we need to call Captain Marvel's team. Oh, no, this is later. There's a time jump. So everyone leaves. And then Ulysses has another vision, and he's like, we have to call Captain Marvel's team the Ultimates.
Yeah.
And then there's another time jump, because there's a lot of just framing devices, and then we don't see the scene. There's a lot of off-camera stuff. Mm-hmm. Tony Stark gets a call, and he rushes to the Ultimates headquarters, and he finds out War Machine is dead. You know, beloved character who's been around for 40 years and is like a favorite in the movies, died off screen. Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that. I mean, like, the way they portray it, where it's like it's everyone super fucked up after a mission that went wrong, and he's looking at the armor, and he's like, what could have punched through this? Like, I don't know. I thought it was effective.
But I mean, War Machine's not in the story at all, really. Like, he only has one scene.
It could be anybody. It doesn't have to be War Machine.
Well, that's a problem with the comic overall, I think.
Yeah.
That's how Bendis writes characters. By the way, the guy that killed the prison jester, he's actually a recurring Marvel villain, and he is still used. He was used recently in a good story, like last year.
Is he the Marvel's Joker?
He's more like the Marvel's prankster.
Yeah, he's a joke villain, but like they have like one story where like a very dark superhero basically beats the shit out of him, like because he plays a joke on him and he takes it seriously. There's actually a very interesting story about like this joke villain got the shit almost murdered out of him by this dark and gritty character who's a real bad guy in that scenario. You know?
Yeah. If you get the shit murdered out of him.
But like, Bendis likes to just kill people's characters.
Yeah.
And like, War Machine is a character that has a place in the Marvel Universe. He is the liaison between the Avengers and the U.S. government. Like,
yeah, I meant more like it wasn't the I didn't mind the scene. The scene I thought was effective.
I think that's my to get into like my overall thoughts. If this was a standalone thing or an alternate universe story or whatever, I actually think I might like this. But
Probably
because this is supposed to like nothing will be the same and like the Hulk's dead now, like it's shitty. It's really
Spoilers.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you see, I was just thinking about it in the context kind of like that of a standalone story, because since I don't read like any other Marvel, it didn't matter to me that if Hulk gets killed, it's like, okay, cool, like his comic's done for now. Like I'm more interested in doing something interesting with this story than trying to keep every franchise, like comic franchise, alive and well.
I agree with Darryl there, but I still didn't find it that interesting by the end. I was like, the writing in this whole thing was not good, and like the concept was interesting, but kind of dragged out over 9 issues without doing much.
I felt like the concept got progressively better.
Should we save this for the end?
You should save it for the end because we're going.
Okay, all right.
So basically, Tony Stark like flips out on Captain Marvel, saying like, "Well, how did War Machine die?" And they find out they had a vision that Thanos was somewhere in space. He's just like big space god guy. And they showed up, and Thanos beat the shit out of everybody, killed War Machine, and put She-Hulk in a coma. And then Tony goes to like Thanos because they have him like jailed up in the basement. And She-Hulk wakes up from her coma, says, "Fight for it! Like we deserve, we should follow Ulysses' visions." And then like apparently dies. She doesn't, but it seems like she dies.
Yeah, it does the whole beep, the flat line.
I love that too. Like, can you get an EKG on a Hulk? Like, does that work? Whatever.
So now for issue 2, Tony Stark goes to the Inhumans headquarters, and he wants to take Ulysses to study him, like Sly was saying earlier, like, or whoever was saying. Maybe it wasn't Sly. Fuck you guys. I don't care. So he's saying like, I want to study his brain. I'm not going to hurt him, but I want to know, is his mood affecting these visions, stuff like that. But they have a big fight because it's comics, and he fakes them out with a fake suit, grabs Ulysses and is doing studies on him.
I was fine with them fighting. Like, it would make sense because Tony breaks
Yeah.
into the Inhumans place to steal it, and apparently the Inhumans are like a matriarchy because they all follow Medusa, the hair woman.
Yeah.
But the dumb comic thing was like, oh, that was his fake robot suit that he fooled us with. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
I liked her design.
Yeah.
maybe I just like redheads.
You were making fun of her when we were reading the fucking feminism comics, saying, "Oh, Medusa, what the fuck is that?" Remember that, guys?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. I block out all these.
That's why it was funny when she popped up here and she's like, I'm the queen of them. I'm like, all right.
Yeah,
guess.
the Inhuman. Another reason why Inhumans fucking suck is that they're a royal family, and we're supposed to act like they're a sympathetic minority, where they literally are royalty and they have their own political power.
Yeah.
I was going to say, people treat them very kindly so far, at least according to this comic.
But still, are like one character's like, "I don't trust Ulysses," and they're like, "Oh, it's because he's Inhuman, right?" You
Well,
fucking
that's the thing
racist.
is they're trying to just apply X-Men rules to these other characters.
Yeah.
And it like just doesn't like without the history it doesn't make sense. But whatever. So while Tony's studying Ulysses, the Ultimates find him and show up, and while they're fighting, Ulysses has a vision of a naked Hulk destroying New York City and killing everyone.
Yep.
And this time the vision is much stronger, that it's not just him seeing it, everyone in the room gets knocked out and they all see it.
Yep.
Another nice plot device where it's like, oh, how do we make sure that everyone believes in his vision? It's like he can now send it out, like project it to everybody else.
Yeah. And Captain Marvel decides she's going to go to the Hulk and stop this.
So the frame device of issue 3 is basically it's in a little bit in the future, and it's a court case with Tony and Carol on the witness stand. And so it turned out that Banner was like free from being Hulk. Bruce Banner, the Hulk, was free from being the Hulk for like a year.
One thing I want to say about this issue, even though I have big problems with it, I think the way it's framed is really cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Same, definitely.
So it turns out Banner he was experimenting himself. He claims it was to prevent the hulking out, but when the Ultimates and everyone shows up at his doorstep and say, "You fucking experimenting yourself. You're making Hulk come back."
Yeah, because if you want to go talk to the Hulk, you should bring 1,000 people who want to fight.
And
him.
you
That always
accuse
works.
him of being an asshole and say, "What did you do?"
And so Bruce Banner gets mad, saying, "What the fuck, guys? You guys are pieces of shit." And as he does so, like not even hulking out, like you can tell when Hulk's gonna hulk out because his eyes turn green. First of all, they don't fucking turn green in this panel. And so, but before he can even say anything else, he gets shot in the head by Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So a little thing the artist does is the light in his pupil is a shade of green. In it. I got you there.
But that's what Hawkeye says. He says, "My vision's better than everyone else's. I saw that shade of green, and I knew I had to do this."
It's one of those where they're purposely making it gray, so it could go either way. Like maybe that was just a certain light, because I think in like earlier panels there's that green light in his eyes.
There's a little sparkle in his
So
eyes.
the argument of Hawkeye was everyone knows he killed him. He says he killed him, but is he justified? And he makes this whole case that one time the Hulk went to him as Bruce Banner and said, "If I ever Hulk out again, kill me."
I love that. How he's like, "Oh no, I'm justified," because Hulk literally said, "Kill me."
I hated that part because it's like it could have just been interesting enough to have Hawkeye, this guy with like superior vision, that he saw what he thought he saw and had to act on it. And it's like, was he justified in acting that quickly? But now he's like, I was his executioner. Like, he wanted me to do this. He gave me, like, a Hulk-radiated bullet.
Yeah.
Or arrow tip.
The court kind of rules it like as assisted suicide, basically, where Hawkeye basically helps him kill himself.
Yeah, and apparently since everyone in the world hates the Hulk so much, he's like a national hero now.
Yeah.
He's got like 85% approval rating or whatever.
Well, they're like, imagine if you lived in New Mexico or whatever. You're like, at any time Hulk could Hulk out and kill me. Like,
Yeah.
I guess that.
No, I mean, I understand that, but like Bendis frames it in such a way that it's like, no, everything, like there is no nuance. It's they asked him to kill him. Everyone agrees. The Hulk has been terrorizing everybody.
Not to mention, in this world, like, you're afraid of the Hulk always going to kill you. Apparently, every fucking week, aliens show up in New York City, like in the first issue or second issue, and almost kill all of humanity. So it's like, I think everyone must have, like, fucking PTSD at all times in the Marvel Universe, because every week it's like world-ending catastrophe.
Yeah. And not to get into too much about more fucking history, I'm sorry, but it's just I have to bring this up because I like Hawkeye as a character, and so Hulk goes to Hawkeye because he says, "You're the only guy who can kill me. You love killing people, Hawkeye." Hawkeye is so anti-murder that one time his wife got raped and she murdered her rapist. And he got so mad at her for murdering her rapist that he not only did he divorce her, but he almost he basically divided the Avengers in half over the issue. Like, Hawkeye is one of the most anti-murder Marvel characters.
Yeah.
But whatever.
And it is funny how the Hulk is like, you'll be able to sleep at night after killing me.
Yeah. But yeah, Bendis doesn't care about continuity or characters, but
Yeah.
whatever. So it turns out in issue 4 that She-Hulk is alive, but now she's gray and she gets mad that her cousin is dead.
I really like that when she wakes up, Carol's like, I have to tell you about Bruce. And she's like, Bruce Banner? My cousin Bruce Banner? The Hulk?
I am She-Hulk and he is Hulk.
And this is why Darryl says, like, it's fine as a way to conclude these series. I just want to point out that it's not really a way to conclude the Hulk. It's to just revamp the Hulk, in this case, by making She-Hulk the new Hulk, literally.
Yeah, so she's really angry now.
That's why they made her Grey
Yeah.
Hulk.
Yeah, so now she's the Hulk. The new Hulk series is about She-Hulk.
Also, when you guys were talking about how like Bendis really doesn't go with subtlety, I love that when Hawkeye gets exonerated, they choose this picture of like him in a victory pose under the Hulk. Like no one does that for trial. It's like this person like smiling and giving thumbs up.
And they broadcast it on the Times Square Jumbotron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tony uses his powers and he realizes that it's all just probability based and it can be influenced by anything. Like we said, it can be influenced by personality or power growth, and we don't know the percentage of failure.
I didn't understand. I know I'm always getting too literal with the comics, but like he's like his brain is an algorithm, right? So it predicts the future. It doesn't make them, but like it predicts them to the level where it's like on this day this is going to happen from these people. Like
what he says is his brain is constantly absorbing data and energy from the world, where like we have to consciously look at something to remember it, but he's like just energy from the universe going into his brain, and his brain's like turning it into an algorithm.
It just seems so crazy that like I understand that idea and it's cool that like you could take all the data of the world and make predictions of the future, but like you can't predict that interdimensional aliens are going to show up in NYC on this day. Like that's not something that the data could give you.
He did. He felt their energies emanating. Like we don't know how their teleportation system works.
Yeah,
It could have been giving him data.
It just seems like a weird explanation for the power, because it's like
It's a way to make it so, because you have to make it, because first of all, it makes it more applicable to real universe, because this is how we try to predict the universe in real life, where we use algorithms to predict the future. That's literally what Hillary Clinton's campaign used. They had an algorithm called Ada that predicted they had 0% chance of losing, and that's why they didn't fucking have a ground game. That's why they didn't have this. So it's a very good question.
This is the wrong.
I know, but it's a very good. This is actually a applicable question of the algorithms are inherently deceptive, and we should not trust them, because even in real life we have.
I mean, you could use them as evidence, but not as concrete fact, and that's Tony's thing. Is we can use them to predict, but we can't go arrest people before they do things, because they're probably going to do them.
Even if they have a 99% chance of doing it, that doesn't mean they're definitely going to do it.
And to add to this confusion, at least when I was reading it, I was asking these same questions, but it's framed while he's reading these things out loud in his narration bubbles. Carol is arresting some lady on the steps of a courthouse, well, Captain Marvel is, because she has an empty briefcase, and they don't explain it until the end of the issue.
Basically, she was supposed to have a briefcase full of like criminal stuff, but it's just an empty briefcase because she's switching briefcases or something like that.
So they have a whole SWAT team drag her away.
Because she's a secret Hydra agent.
Allegedly.
And basically, while Tony's explaining why this is faulty, we have examples of uses being wrong, and that's one of them.
No, that wasn't necessarily him being wrong.
She just disappears after this, right? They're interrogating
they say later on, one of the characters, I forget who, one of the fucking secondary characters, like Blue Marvel, says like, yes, this is wrong like several times, including this Hydra Asian woman.
Oh, okay.
So like, yes.
But doesn't he end up saying like he's mostly right though?
He's mostly
like,
right, but I think to show that there is basis for Tony's case. Like,
there is room for error.
Yeah.
Yep. And he actually asks, what's her name, that Captain Marvel. He's like, what probability is this not acceptable anymore? 60%, 80%, 20%? Like, where do we draw the line between it not being okay to arrest people for things they haven't done?
And she basically says any percent.
Which is so crazy. Like, yeah, if they have a 1% chance of doing it, I'll take them down.
Yeah.
She's like Dick Cheney, because he said that at some time. Like, if there's a possibility of a terrorist committing a terrorist act, like Guantanamo's okay, because they'll do anything to keep one innocent safe.
They did this in Civil War 1 as well, where one character It made more sense with Iron Man because Iron Man had no popularity during his first Civil War. He was a character no one really knew what to do with before the movies. So they made him purposefully kind of more dickish than it needed to be to try to make you side more with Captain America more. But with Captain Marvel, it makes less sense because we don't know Captain Marvel, and she literally has a movie coming out. So why are we making her into an asshole?
And Marvel's been pushing her so hard for like 2 or 3 years, and like people aren't buying it. And like they just keep really trying to make this character work, and this event did nothing to make me wanna continue with her series.
Well, yeah, because she's standing pretty much on the wrong side of history.
Yeah. And this is one of my problems with Civil War 1 too, is they make it so one-sided that like you can only side with Tony.
Yeah.
Even though Carol Danvers has some real points that she's making, and like in a post 9/11 world, this is a real question. You know, this is like, is the Patriot Act fine and stuff like that? Like these questions we have to ask: what probability makes it okay to compromise our morals?
Yeah.
And instead, it's like, nope, she's a supervillain.
No, I did sympathize with her.
At the beginning, though.
I sympathized with her throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a thought crime police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's why you like this comic, because you're like, it's a cool struggle.
Yeah.
So the issue ends with Iron Man kidnaps Ulysses again, this time with the help of other superheroes. And now Captain Marvel has her own team, including the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I hated this so much because I'm like, why the fuck are you guys here?
Yeah.
Oh, because Bendis is writing the book. That's why.
Yeah. And Guardians of the Galaxy are like, man, Captain Marvel, you're so great. We love you, basically. Like
They get a full page splash, too. I'm like, are they, like, cool enough to... or, like, big enough to...
Also, like, they're supposed to be out in space doing stuff. Why are they coming here to help, like, a political argument between Iron Man and Captain Marvel?
Because they say Carol asked, and she's their friend.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
And so that's where issue ends. Issue 5.
And then we have basically a fucking waste of time issue that's just... This is, I think, what they were trying to do the whole comic, where they're
Waste
just
of
like,
time?
we want to have all the superheroes fight.
Yeah.
And they even do the whole, like they did in the movie, which really annoys me, when you have two sides and they start walking towards each other, and they have, like, a team of superheroes behind them, some of them flying, some of them on the ground. And
It
they're
looks
like...
cool.
It doesn't, but you keep doing it.
It's like the X-Men intro.
It looks like the X-Men intro, and it's just like a million superheroes just start beating the shit out of each other.
And did you guys even know who was on what team aside from Tony and Carol?
No,
I did, because
I
I was following the story.
I mean, like, I knew, like, Spider-Man was on...
Well,
like,
the
Tony's
front
side.
page shows, like, the two sides.
But, like, the story, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
who's
it
on what
doesn't matter.
side.
It doesn't matter. I at some point...
That's true.
knew
You
who
could have
they were.
flipped their sides, and I'd be like, okay, I'll buy this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing that type of thing happened in the original Civil War. You could throw most characters in that book. So.
And it just seemed, reading this issue, I'm like, I think they're just trying to make me think all these cool, different characters are cool.
Oh, definitely.
Each character would have, like, a conversation with the other, like, does the fact that I hold a PhD in theoretical physics and a master's degree in electrical engineering from... And I'm like... And then Luke Cage just punches him and it's like, you busted or something. Like, I'm like,
You just got caged, bro.
yeah, I'm like, okay. And they just beat the shit out of each other forever and ever. And then, like, Spider-Man's fighting some Spider-Man villains, Venom, maybe, I don't know.
It's not the Venom you know, it's Venom number 3. Technically, I think it's Venom number 4. And he's like, you're not the real Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2. And Spider-Man's like, oh, you're not the Venom from my dimension, Venom 5. And I'm like, who can
God.
fucking read this and like it?
I really, like, I wanted to just stop reading here and tell you guys, like, I'll just wing it for the rest of it.
The
You're
only
like, oh,
thing
yeah.
that matters in this issue is how it ends.
Yeah. So this fight goes on for literally the whole issue, and then Ulysses shows up at this fight and implants them all with a vision. And this vision is basically the White House, or it was the Capitol building, I think, in ruins.
Yeah.
And it was Spider-Man standing over Captain America's dead body, looking like he killed him.
Yeah, with blood on his hands.
So everyone, including Spider-Man and Captain America, see this reality.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the thing that was most jarring for me with this issue was I finished it and, like, literally that's it. That's all that happens. And then there was 7 pages of ads for tie-in books and I was like, fuck you guys. At least put substance in the main book. I'm not going to buy these.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they don't care.
So then the issue ends with basically that scene and Carol's like, Spider-Man, you're under arrest.
Yeah, so then we basically, Captain Marvel and Iron Man are going to have the exact same debate they had before. Like, what do we do with Spider-Man? Is it okay to arrest him now? He's going to kill Captain America. And Captain America's like, I trust him. I love freedom.
Even though Cap's a secret Nazi at this point.
Captain Marvel and Tony are arguing, and then Captain America just goes over to Miles, and he just asks him, like, do you think you're going to kill me? He's like, no, like, I would never do that, because Miles is freaking out, because he's just a kid. And he doesn't know how to handle this vision of him murdering someone. So Captain America's like, you know what, here, let's just take you home, so, because that's where you need to be right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they grab Spider-Man, Nick Fury or Maria Hill.
Thor, he goes home with Thor.
Oh yeah, I love it. Lady Thor just shows up and she's like, "I shall take you home." And
Yeah.
then they basically a bunch of people start arguing about which side they're on. Some of them are like, "Maybe I should change sides. Maybe I'm on the wrong side." Spider-Man cries on the roof because I like that scene too. It's like he's seeing you doing something like that, especially because he says like Captain America is one of my heroes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To see himself having killed him is pretty crazy. And then there's some other characters I'm like, who the fuck
Oh yeah,
are
Bendis'
you?
new Iron Man, the like young teen girl, Riri Williams, is like, I'm gonna help just further this plot along and take all the teen characters away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love. She's like, buy my book or something.
Aren't you guys excited to read the new Champions? The
Yeah.
fucking team.
Fucking Guardians of the Galaxy gets more pages.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Don't they blow up their spaceship so that they can't leave? They have
Yeah.
to stay in this
It's
event.
Vision accidentally blew up their spaceship.
Yeah, it was during the
Kitty
fight.
Pryde.
And not the Ulysses Visions, the character named Vision.
Yeah.
I love too how that fight is so crazy that they blow up like some buildings. They blow up that they don't kill a single superhero during it. Like that's that's some pretty good self control there.
That
Like,
happens a lot in comics. The Hulk is usually like, oh, Hulk destroyed fucking DC, but no one got killed, thankfully.
okay. And then at the end, basically, Spider-Man. This is where I started to really lose my interest in this book. Even though his vision was being in the front of the Capitol building, killing Captain America. In what seems like he wants to make this come true, he goes to the Capitol building and just stands in front of it and is like, "I'm right where I would be to kill in the Vision." Like it's like you're just setting up. Like why? Just to stay home. Like this could be avoided if you just don't go to DC.
That's true. That's actually a good point.
No, but he's trying to prove that he's not going to do it.
I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing as Darryl,
Yeah.
but then I'm like, you could avoid it entirely by just staying home. Like,
No, but that's not as important. It's him trying to prove that that's not going to happen. Like that he's not capable. Of
I think it's
that.
more important to prove, make sure it never happens, and I would just make sure. It
But
never
see, now
happens.
you guys are buying into it that it is a possibility.
I would be safe than sorry.
If there's even a 10% possibility, you should lock yourself in your house.
No, but it's like I'm not saying stay home. I'm saying don't go to the place where you had a vision of murder.
If you're gonna turn yourself in, do it at a different police place.
Yeah.
Police place, precincts. That's the word I'm looking for.
that's the thing is this whole scene that comes up next. It's just like they're like fucking setting up this scene that doesn't need to have ever existed. Like they're all just going.
When Captain America shows up, I expected him to be like, and I brought this big spear that won't impale me, I promise.
Yeah.
Whatever. And that's that issue. It ends with Spider-Man standing in front of the Capitol building.
So last two issues.
All right, so issue 7 begins with the Inhumans talking to Ulysses, and he's standing like on a roof, and he's got all these like tendrils coming out of him because he's going into supervision mode, and he has a vision of this future, like this wild west somewhere out in the Midwest, where he sees like this Hulk with a handlebar mustache and this.
This is from a book called Old Man Logan that Bendis brought back a
No
couple years
way.
ago.
This is canon?
Yeah. So Bendis brought it back a couple years ago, so he had to use it.
No
And the thing that's so
fucking way.
stupid about this is Old Man Logan, Old Man Wolverine, he came to our regular time, and he's a regular member of the X-Men now. So it's like there is an Old Man Wolverine
that's
now.
why he looks so old.
Yeah, so there is an Old Man Wolverine, but he's not this Old Man Wolverine. And like, why? Why do this?
Oh, that's
So wait, the X-Men has regular Wolverine and old
No,
man
regular
Wolverine?
Wolverine's dead. Old Wolverine
Oh.
is there.
Yeah.
So all the other X-Men are teens.
Yeah. Also, our regular Cyclops is dead, and Teen Cyclops replaced him.
Okay, guys, this is my last episode of the podcast.
If this was like the books, if this was the books we're doing regularly, like if we were doing a modern Marvel as like if we were like a regular podcast, comic podcast talking about comics up to date, I would quit the show too. Fuck this, because fuck this for me too.
Yeah. This is
It's so fan servicey. God
Yeah,
damn. They're like, Wolverine's the cool old man, and everyone else is young, hip.
But fans don't like this book, so who are they servicing?
The other people who do
Yeah.
like it. Kids,
Yeah, like me.
12-year-olds.
I guess, yeah. Darryl.
Yeah,
and
Darryl.
12-year-olds.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, cool, Old Man Logan killing handlebar Hulk. Handlebar mustache.
So Old Man Logan gives him the warning that it's Tony Stark's fault for pushing Carol Danvers too far. So his warning is basically like, both sides are just as bad, guys.
Fucking neoliberal fucking Old Man Logan.
Yeah, I especially love too that the fact that the apocalypse can be called because of one scenario.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Where it's like, make sure they don't kill Ferdinand, and the Great War won't happen. It's like there are a lot of other things.
Yeah, I love that.
This is the hero's effect, where heroes would have a vision of the future and say you have to stop the specific thing, just as a fake bullshit way to up the stakes at the last minute. Like this is the last issue, like second.
Especially
last issue.
because apparently interdimensional aliens can almost destroy the planet all the time, and they're never like this is what caused the apocalypse. They're like, if these two superheroes fight, that'll be the end of the world.
Yeah.
And like Darryl pointed out, it's not usually one thing.
Even
that
though they
causes
just
anything.
fought a lot and nobody died.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man's there, and a bunch of people are holding him up. Like a bunch of police are like, "You need to get off this Capitol building steps," and he's like, "No." And then
for no reason.
But Captain Marvel's like, "Don't worry, let's see how this goes, please."
yeah, and then Captain America shows up because he's there too to also find out that like, is this gonna happen?
Will you kill me, Spider-Man? Let's see.
So then Captain Marvel comes on, and then we're just repeating the thing of like, she's like, "We need you to come with us, Spider-Man, because you're gonna be too dangerous."
But they seem pretty civil about it.
yes,
Yeah.
Like
Civil
and
war
it's very
about it.
like I mean, what's so civil about war anyway, right, guys?
This is why I was still sympathizing with Carol, even if she was still pushing boundaries way
Yeah,
too
no,
much.
I guess you're right.
Because she goes to take his hand, and then suddenly there's a barrier around him, and it's a barrier put up by Tony Stark, who's now in the Hulkbuster armor.
Yeah.
So it's a giant suit.
And War Machine colors too.
I actually like that it's in War Machine colors. I think that's cool.
I just don't get why he's here to
No,
fight her. I
he
don't
beats
know
the
why
shit
she's
out of
here.
her for no reason.
No, he says later on, like, I'm not letting you arrest her. He thinks he doesn't trust her and thinks she's going to arrest.
No, but then
Spider-Man.
later on, they're like, he trusts her the most.
But that's just bullshit. Bendis for bad writing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Because he himself broke in and stole Ulysses, so he's not
Yeah.
a really trustworthy
Yeah.
character either. Anyway, they fight a whole bunch, and then Ulysses shows up because he's like, "I have to stop this," and then he goes into overdrive mode with his visions.
He on the brakes. Fantasy 7, right?
Yeah.
he lived in
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, and then we get a bunch of guest artists drawing what potential futures there could be, like a bunch of dinosaurs fighting each other.
I love that, and they're doing the fucking X-Men intro pose where they're all running at each other.
Yeah.
But
And
they're
it's like,
dinosaurs.
yeah, I guess two dinosaur rival teams are.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
they do this a fucking lot. Marvel events always end with, look at these other events coming up.
Yeah.
So, after Civil War II, they started some big, monster thing. And,
dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Oh my
so
God.
this is, I think, the third Bendis event that ends with, previews of other events. It's the fucking worst. Just tell a goddamn story.
The more you guys give backstory, the more I'm literally shocked. Like Old Man Logan, I was like, this is obviously just a weird alternate future that can't exist.
Yeah, it has to be just Bendis being wacky, saying, "Imagine what wacky scenarios could happen, guys." But no, this is fucking canon.
It's what the next X-Men movie is based on.
Yeah, the Logan one coming out.
Oh my God, I didn't know.
Yep, it's all coming together, Phil. You're seeing
Oh
the
my
patterns.
God.
But it's so fucking annoying because events. A lot of people say they were never like this, but I feel like a lot of older events actually ended. They told a story, and since Bendis became an architect, it's always been one long thing that hope you want to read Marvel for 15 years.
It's one long ad.
And just end the fucking story. It doesn't have to always tease everything else. It's really annoying.
So the other visions are the X-Men fighting something off panel, then Spider-Man killing Captain America while Captain America gives it an evil glare at him in the background in the burning sky of DC, and then Inhumans fighting aliens, and then Eternity, the cosmic deity that's the embodiment of the universe.
From our Doctor Strange episode.
Yeah, he shows up and he's like, "That's awesome that you've achieved your max level." So
Yeah, he's like you reached enlightenment. Time to.
you have shown
to
Earth
revolve.
all that you can. You're part of a greater universe now. Come join us.
And people hate this event. They were like, "This is literally Deus Ex Machina, Bendis. Fuck you," because it
Yeah.
literally is.
Yeah, because they take away the one thing that the pivotal key that this whole
the conflict that is all about this guy, and they're just like, well, you can't use him anymore.
it's
'cause he's gone.
literally God comes down and takes him away. And it's like, don't worry about it. You guys don't have to struggle
Yeah,
anymore.
well, it's because he's like, I transcended reality.
so
Which doesn't
fucking
make
shitty.
much sense because it's he was really going crazy with his powers. And then I guess that was what he needed to do.
This annoys me so much because it's the same fucking bullshit that we see all the time, where you have a real philosophical argument, and instead of making a point or having an actual like thesis, it's nope, don't worry about it.
Well, it's magical, not topical.
Yeah, no, for real. And like, especially now, make a fucking statement. Don't just cop out. Like, make a statement about authoritarianism.
This is before the Trump.
Oh yeah, because this came out of nowhere.
And then then we get some like epilogue scenes of Tony needs to be put in stasis because he was beat up so bad because Carol blew him up. And then Beast tells him it's like, he really did trust you. The thing that he was afraid of is what would happen after you because of like the policies you were putting in place.
Which I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no, I definitely like I side with that because like I did sympathize with her, but her view of where to take this could be completely in the wrong, where anyone with any problem should be locked away.
This was the argument with the Patriot Act too. It's like, great, we put in these things to stop terrorists now, and maybe everyone in the government right now is doing the right thing with it. But
that's an assumption.
I'm saying you'd be really optimistic with it. But 5 presidents down the line is 10 presidents down the line.
How about 2?
Also, in this timeline, in the time this book is written, we assume it's Obama as president. All you have to do is imagine this happening today with Trump as president to say, okay, it's a bad idea. Let's not do this.
Yeah. And it's just, and even the fucking like Tony's in a coma. It's like Bendis is basically saying like, don't worry though, that girl you saw in 2 panels, she's the new Iron Man. Go read her book.
Yeah, they literally do have. They have like at the end, Carol summarizing all the characters, saying some characters are lost, some characters are this. What will happen to them? Go read their book. Go read fucking Miles Morales Spider-Man. Go read New Champions.
Yeah, it does like an epilogue as Carol's talking to the president, where it's like multiple panels of all the different characters in the Marvel universe, and it's basically saying it's like where they're at right now, where it's like Riri's the new Iron Man, and now She-Hulk's now the Grey Hulk, and Captain America's has like he has a long shadow, which means he's very like dark and
His long shadow. That means there'll be 3 more weeks of winter.
Good one, Sly. that was better than this book.
Oh, and also the president's like, "Hey, Captain Marvel, you should be the Secretary of Defense."
Yeah. She's like, "That's a good idea," and that's
Yeah, she's like, "I have some ideas about the future," and
She's
it
like,
goes.
I have some Russians to call.
I did like how. I don't know if I liked it. It was funny how at every issue they would show like the 2 sides, and it would be like one side wants to protect the future, one side wants to fight for the future, and it's like that's kind of the same thing.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's just, I think it has a promising premise. The art is great, but I really think it just totally falls apart as a story.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like because of its premise, I don't feel like it totally falls apart as a story. It tries to make its point about its ideas, and as both people like talk about it, and even though it pulls the Deus Ex Machina, like I was still along for the ride the whole time.
But I feel like if you're gonna have a political argument, the resolution is important for a story.
And couldn't have this been like 4 issues?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yes. God. Fuck. Like, what was it? We talked about Civil War 1 when we did a review of it. We felt like that was too short. I felt that was too short. Like, didn't go into some things enough, but this felt like it was stretching things out. Holy fuck.
You need to have your cool big fight in the middle of it.
Yeah.
There was more than one fight though. The superheroes fight several times. And it's like, do you really need that?
Imagine like this reminds me like in movies, because in action movies, they tell script writers you have to have an action beat every like 10 pages of script. You have to have an action beat, and that feels like what they were doing with these events.
Yeah, I mean that's a kind of common complaint about comics in general, though.
Yeah, for me, I'd be completely fine if they wanted to pull a miniseries. It's like 12 Angry Men, where it's just people sitting down and trying to discuss this with each other.
That's probably a miniseries.
Because I would love to read that too, but like if you need to put action in there, I thought like most of the fights and the events throughout this was fine. Like it didn't bother me.
But the fights were just so lame because like you have this big mishmash of people and they all they're all using their powers apparently to equal effect. It's like Marvel versus Capcom. Like Doctor Strange gets beaten by Storm, who then beats the it's just like
that's why Bendis sucks at events. One big reason why even when he first started writing Avengers and stuff like that, I was like, this sucks.
Because he showed up and killed Hawkeye right away.
Yeah, but also fucking Ant-Man and fuck that. He killed fucking Scott Lang.
That's another thing. That's another book we definitely have to do.
But so what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was saying fucking the death of Ant-Man got me so depressed. But every time he writes a fight,
Spoilers.
a team fight, everyone just blends together. Their dialogue blends together. Their abilities blend together. He cannot write a team book. Like more and more character, he can write one character fighting like a group of people really well and having dialogue with a small group of people very well. But he can't write a team of people and keep them all interesting and unique.
Yeah.
It is a tall order, but why try to make that order if you're not going to succeed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like if you've also failed doing this a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, whatever. So, anybody else have anything they want to add?
Is this what Civil War II movie's going to be about?
Oh fuck! I'm like, I hope not. Well, on the bright side, it'll probably be better. I can't imagine it's this bad.
If Bendis was to write another Marvel event, would you guys want to read it?
No.
Yeah, I'd read it.
No.
Okay, interesting.
I'd read it. I'd be more excited for it if it is focused on like a smaller thing, but I assume Marvel events usually involve like 100 characters.
I mean, I could see, like, they took Civil War, which I think is a flawed book, and I think they did it better in the movie. I could see them taking this and making a better movie out of it.
Yeah, that's one reason why I don't like modern Marvel as much. It feels like a lot of the stuff is just experimentations to see stuff that because before huge status quo shifts were rare, and that's why they felt cool to me. Like Death of Superman was cool to me because you never saw Superman die, obviously, but like you never saw any big superhero that died. Like these big shattering events, like Death of Superman, Nightfall. These big events were so rare in the past, and when they happened, they were special. But now, Marvel basically they experiment with all these different new status quos. Like they want to see what happened if the Falcon was Captain America. What would happen if Iron Man was a black woman instead? And it's like now nothing feels special anymore. It doesn't feel like anything matters anymore because every fucking year it changes drastically.
That's how I felt when I was reading this and all the characters were showing up, and they were all you had the Teenage X-Men, you had Lady Thor, you had Black Spider-Man. I'm like everything is so different, and not that I hate when they change stuff, but it seems like they're just changing everything they can constantly.
But because of that, none of these characters have a history or relationship.
Or and their personalities aren't defined well enough either in the story too.
Yeah, because, like, I'd like to see how the actual X-Men, like, who've gone through genocides and stuff feel about this, but you can't because they're all gone.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. It's bad.
Yeah.
But I definitely understand Darryl's points, and I think from a new reader perspective, I could see it being engaging.
Yeah, this is why I like having Darryl on, because I think he's the always has the most unique opinion, and like we always neglect stuff like.
I think you're talking about him as if he's not right there.
Darryl, you are great, but like Darryl, you're always a very good counter voice to like preventing us from being like, oh yeah, this sucks, and just universally.
I think both me and Phil do that pretty well.
Fuck Phil.
We give you an idea of some like people that aren't attached to lore and what we think about it.
So now that we've established to the listeners why each of us are on this podcast,
exposition dump.
yeah, it's a recap page at the end of it.
Isn't that weird?
But
Ryan, my friend Ryan, my podcast friend Ryan.
Yeah. So I think we've done enough back and forth quirky Bendis dialogue to move on.
Oh, I have one last comment. The way that everyone spoke in this, I know we were saying dialogue sucks, and just the way it was like this weird tone the whole time really made me feel like this was in the style of like every modern Marvel movie ever.
Oh yeah,
like,
it is.
Yeah,
It's
like
definitely
and like that's why I sometimes bitch about them because I'm like they all just kind of feel like this samey thing, and this comic was like that like stretched out over fucking 9 issues. Like
yeah.
it was just so much of that same shit.
See,
Yeah.
you guys poop on me for this, but that's one of the reasons why I like Man of Steel. Is because I actually like that you can tell it's what's his name's direction.
Zack Snyder.
Yeah, Zack Snyder's like that's his take on Superman, even if it's not a good take. Is it because I have the same problem with Phil? I think the Marvel movies are good; they're really solid and enjoyable, but so many of them do kind of blend together. Where it's like I get the basic gist you're going for. Like nothing's gonna surprise me. I don't think, other than the visual
very
effects.
predictable. Yeah.
I would argue that like let's say at least half of them definitely fall into that category. But I think recently with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, Guardians was different enough.
The Captain America movies in general.
Captain America 2 was like also a game changer for me.
Yeah, Captain America 2 is I think my favorite Marvel movie overall.
That deals with a hard issue that they like
Make a stance
actually,
on.
Yeah.
But I think this will be like because Marvel does try and mix up. They do have like formulaic movies still. Like Ant-Man was pretty formulaic, even though I think
Thor 2.
Thor 2 is very formulaic, but I do think this a lot of Marvel the comics are like what Marvel films will be if there were no Captain America.
Yeah,
2s or
I think
anything
that's
like
Yeah. Okay. That's.
Okay, so
I think maybe that's why I like it, because it's not ambitious enough to take a solid stance on this idea, but it is at least like it hits like the marks it's supposed to hit as it goes through it.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So
I think that's unfair.
Yeah. Fuck you.
I think that's inhuman.
I'm a mutate.
So on that note, I want to do a quick plug to the Comrade Radio Network. Surely Not Surely just released another episode that I asked a question on that JB he's just great. He's just great. Listen to it. It's really good. It's called Garbage People. And
Is it not us?
It's no, but we are garbage people. And I also just want to do a second quick plug that Sly launched our beautiful website for our other podcast, oopsItalkpolitics.com. So check that out too. That's also on the Comrade Radio Network.
It's a big, beautiful website. Everyone loves it.
everyone
Trust
loves
me.
it.
I love it. He loves it.
It's got the
Everyone
best
loves it.
HTML.
Yeah.
But yeah, so check
Ask
all
anyone.
So check all that stuff out. And rate and review and subscribe on iTunes to both of our shows. They're so great, right, guys? So good.
So good.
Everyone's saying.
Yeah.
And that's all I got. So anybody else have anything?
Thanks for listening to us for a full year if you've been there since the beginning.
Yeah, because Phil and Darryl haven't.
You're more loyal than those fuckers.
Yeah.
I'm a little offended. I read shit like this and I'm not loyal.
Phil, I want to go eat dinner.
All right.
So thank you guys so much for listening to Divisive Issues. I've been the new Secretary of Defense.
I've been to Vision, but now Ulysses is Vision.
I've been a handlebar mustache Hulk.
And I've been Ulysses, and I can see that Ryan's going to end the podcast. Someone stop him!
Stay in continuity.